think I'm recording this. Still kind of a noob at this. But I wanted to talk today about a topic that I thought would be kind of fun. This is going to be obviously geared more towards people that have never played this game before. This is Robear, by the way. Um, Currently I have like no subscribers, and that's fine. Maybe by the end of this video I'll have one more. But basically I wanted to talk about the complexities of Heroes of the Storm. I do want to give a shout out to Cavalier Guest and ITN podcast, or Into the Nexus. It's actually where I first heard it said out loud. I didn't really have a reference point because I didn't really play a lot of MOBAs myself. But I guess them having say it, I just kind of want to reiterate a little bit. So this video is just going to be kind of talking about some general stuff. So if you've never played the game before, maybe just kind of listen in a little bit. Obviously if you have other MOBAs that you enjoy playing, then great. It's just a little bit different on how things are done. And then I'll talk about just some things to keep in mind and why it can be compounded and so complex. So, and just to give you an idea, I have played a little bit of MOBAs. So Dota I played a little bit, League of Legends, Heroes of New Earth I played a little bit. But when I say a little bit, I mean like minimal, like not even that much. I never got into ranked play, played a few games, and it just didn't, just wasn't as fun for me. Maybe because I grew up kind of playing a lot of Blizzard games, and I guess really that's kind of how it started. But I just like the artwork. I think a lot of it is just how it visually looks for me, and it's just fun. A lot of the characters, a lot of that world I play. If you've never played it, a lot of the games are fun. Whether it's, I don't know, I'm not going to go into all the game's nuances right now, but a lot of it is driven from like Overwatch and World of Warcraft and StarCraft, so a lot of the characters are going to be from those universes. But it is a little bit different than other MOBA games. Again, I'm not a pro at the other ones, so I'm not going to really talk too much about it. I'll just kind of talk more about why this game can be kind of complex. So obviously with every MOBA you're going to have all the different types of game modes. Currently there's, I might be missing some too, so if I'm missing some, drop some more information in the comments for me, please. But I mean, I think kind of starting off, a lot of people play quick match or ARAM. So quick match is just like you pick a character, you just sign on, you just go. ARAM is all random, all mid. So it's basically one lane instead of like two or three. And there are 2 or 3 lanes for Heroes of the Storm because of the map options, which I'll talk a little bit more on numbers for that in a second. And then let's see, you got Storm League, let's see, and then undrafted, right? So those are the drafting type game modes. And then obviously if you do like coordinated play or amateur play, that's a whole nother level of competition. Obviously we got a semi-pro, pro scene, depending who you ask, which is CCL right now. And the video, this is done in, what's the date today? The 4th of February, so in 2021. So if you hear this in the future and things have changed, then this game changes quite a lot. I've noticed after playing it for a few years. Now, so those are all the options that you have as far as like what you can do with the game. And that might be very similar to a lot of other MOBAs, which is fine. The next, actually, I wanted to put here, because I have nothing on here, so let's see. I can't spell. I don't even know if I'm spelling this right. So you guys can meme me in the comments here. So let's see, we talked about game types here. Let's see, let's go ahead and talk about, just the complexities of macro and micro. This is going to be a similar thing if you played other MOBAs. I'll kind of explain a little bit on that. So, and I'm not a pro, I'm not one of the experts, I don't claim to be. We have a lot of other people in the community that are way better at explaining this stuff. But macro is essentially how you play the map. So kind of like the bigger awareness or the big picture. You know, because like other MOBAs, it's like you just got to destroy the core, you know, whether you push it down one lane or destroy all lanes or whatever. But at the end of the day, you just got to kill the core, really, when you get to it. And macro kind of attests to how you play that. There's ways to, you know, create pressure in different lanes, things like that. And then you got micro. So micro, the way that I understand it, is just basically your individual play, like all the little things you do on your character, how well you execute combos, you know, just the finer points of it. Now, you know, me being older, and the older that I get, I think more of my focus will probably be on macro to impact the gameplay because my micro is like just going like to crap, essentially. But I'm trying. I'm trying. Now, so that's one avenue. That's nothing new if you played MOBAs before. The next thing though that is a little bit different is actually the maps. Okay, so I had to kind of look this up, and I probably should have looked up something else that I'll talk about in the future, but let's see. So maps right now, there's in Storm League, which is like the ranked play, there's like, I think 13 maps they can choose from. I don't know if it's how many are in the rotation right now, but that's how many maps they have. So I guess if you were to think about it in other games, because Heroes of the Storm doesn't have items, but they have map differences. This is probably one of the main reasons why I like the game, because it changes a lot of the aspects, it changes how you go about it. And I'll explain a little bit more on that in a second, but right now just counting maps. Let's see, we got 13 maps there. I'm not 100% sure, but I think for ARAM maps, and then, you know, obviously if this is wrong, let me know, because I'm not sure. I know we have 3 for sure, and then maybe 4? I'm not 100% sure on that. I tried to look it up, and I'm not even sure, but you kind of get the idea. We'll just go 3 as a bottom end just to make sure. And there's a couple maps available in Quick Match that aren't in rotation right now for whatever reason, Storm League, and maybe they're trying to get it ready. You know, they try to test out maps and things like that, and other types of play before they throw it in ranks, so it's, you know, more balanced. And then there's also like let's see, I'll just put other maps here. There's also another map that they had and they've been trying to fix it. That's just not in rotation at all. And that'd be Haunted Mines. For those of you guys that aren't sure what I'm talking about that actually do play the game. But I'm guessing if you're watching this video, it's probably because you're new anyway. And I can't spell, so I'll just do that. Or spell check when I need it. So, I mean, even if we just count up the bottom end, that's like 19 maps. Alright, so that's probably the biggest thing that's different from this MOBA versus other MOBAs. There's also the leveling system too. Let me, since I brought it up. So, got a master's in business, but not a master's in spelling, right? So we got the leveling system. So the way it works in other MOBAs, to my understanding, like everyone individually levels up. So you could have like, you know, nuance between, you know, people being one level and then other people on the team being a different. And then obviously the nuance comes with that combination and also the items that you get for that character. And maybe depending on the, I don't know, but I'm guessing depending on the type of character you are, there's going to be some items that amplify your skill set. But in Heroes, it's just a leveling system. So if your team's doing well, then you level faster. If your team isn't doing as well, then the other team, and you don't. And there are catch-up systems. We're not going to talk about that. I'm not even an expert in how it all works, but there is a leveling system. So let's see. Let's put a plus here to kind of significant or identify what's different from other MOBAs. Let's see. The next thing is objectives. So for Heroes of the Storm with the maps, it's kind of interesting because traditionally, let's see, traditionally you have lanes, right? And usually there are 3 lanes. And then also you have items, you have creeps, or whatever, monsters or whatever you want to call them, just like NPCs that you can level up with experience. And that's how it is for most games, to my understanding. I might be missing something. Obviously you can add in towers and keeps and whatever else they call it. I don't know what they call it. I always forget. Forts. I don't know if it's called the same for other games, but that's the traditional thing. Now, for heroes, like the lanes can be, I mean, technically 1, 2, or 3, right? It could be one lane if you're doing ARAM. It could be 2 or 3 if you're doing competitive in a sense. There's no items at all. There's creeps, and the creeps you have like, I don't know what they call them in the other games, but you have different types of creeps, like whether it's siege or I forget what they call it, knights or something like that. But basically, it's just things that are going to divert your attention. And then you also have bosses too, right? And that's pretty traditional for the other games. But for Heroes of the Storm, it specifically has objectives. So there's some of the maps have like different things to do outside of the traditional gameplay for other MOBAs. So maybe you could be fighting at a point, or maybe you have to cap like a certain area on the ground for a certain amount of time. And then they have different functionality. Sometimes you can power like machines in a sense, like you can be like a big dragon, or you can be a big robot, or like maybe if you stand in there for a little bit, it'll like destroy a building for you. So they all try to make it a little different per the map, and that part's fun. Like, I mean, I guess essentially if you think about maps in general, going back to number 3 here, I mean, it like if you're playing soccer, the field is the same. So I guess if you're playing, other MOBAs, the field is the same. But I don't know. It just gets. I'm not a huge fan of it for some reason. I guess because it's a game and maybe it just needs to be a little bit different for me. But most people operate under that. But if you want to try something new, that's something to expect for this game. Let's see. What are some other things to bring up? So talents, I mean, I guess this is similar to any other MOBAs. I mean, they got talents and things like that, and they're all going to vary, but I think, I mean, again, this is coming from lack of experience. To my understanding, you're going to have like 3 basic talents that you just choose and you can level, but then you're going to have like ultimates, or maybe 2 ultimates or something like that, depending on the game you're playing. But it's interesting because every talent tree for this game is like they're kind of different. It's like you can kind of spec for it, so they kind of model it off of World of Warcraft in that way. But you can kind of specialize down one side, and then maybe a different game specialize another way, depending on who you're playing against. Yeah, it's kind of cool in that way. So it creates a lot of different variations. I mean, if we think about the talent trees and how they happen at level 1. Let's see. Level 1, they 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, and 20. And pretty much every single tier, I don't know if tier is the right word, but every single like time you can get pick a new talent, there's going to be at least a combination of 3 until you get to 10 or 20, because those are like your big ones, your ultimates and stuff that you can pick. So they give you a little bit more options there. So I don't know, if we got mathematical people that end up watching this, you can start calculating all the variables of how different just you yourself can be, not even talking about other stuff. So let's talk about other parts of the game that and I think what drove it home, going back to Cavalier Guess in the podcast for ITN, is just this game isn't really easy. I think a lot of people think it is. It may seem like it is, but there's just a lot more nuanced stuff. Because if you think about the item levels, or items just affect your ability, or for your character, right? Like you hit harder, you dodge more, or whatever. You get life faster. But and it kind of does the same with the talents, but it's just different. It's like it's similar but different. I don't know how to explain it other than that. So if you never played a MOBA, this might sound hella confusing. I apologize, and if so, drop some comments. Let me know, and then I'll maybe make another video, make it hopefully easier to understand. But going back to some other nuances here. So yeah, we talked about talents. Let's talk about compositions a little bit. Compositions, or we call it comps in the game. Let's see. So basically, if you think about it, you're going to have 5 players on your team, right? And then there's all these different roles that come up. I think traditional ones are like tank, healer. I don't think they call it support anymore. I can't remember what they call it. And then you have like all these other nuanced character things like melee assassin. Let's put melee A. then your range assassin, and you got like a bruiser, and then you got like support. And maybe this is similar to other games too, but if you think about it, I mean, every person on your team is a combination. Some work better with others, and then obviously you got the team that you're playing against, right? So just that compared with the map, I mean, it just gets like crazy weird as far as like all the things that can happen in a game, and that's not even talking about the compositions or like the play styles, I guess, that teams can do, right? You got like front to back comp, you got like pick comp, you got like blow up, which is kind of similar to pick, but a little different. You got like dive, which could also be kind of similar. I mean, you got split push, and there's probably a whole bunch. I'm not like pro, obviously, so there's probably all these other things you guys call it, but for the new players, I mean, that's just the individual strategies within the game of all of these like nuances with all the specific types of characters. And then, let's see, was there any other, there was one more point. Oh yeah, and then you have the communication aspect. We just call it comms in-game. So with the game, and maybe the other games have adjusted, but you just have the ability to talk to people. So, obviously if you're just playing by yourself or solo queue, right, you're going to get, okay results. But the way that they designed this game is they actually designed it to be a team player game. And I just don't think they did a good job of marketing that initially. But I mean, the true excitement of the game comes when people are on communications, talking to each other. And you can still enjoy the game without it. It's just another level. It's another level of competition. It's another experience because it's like, I'll probably use basketball references because I have a basketball background, but basically it's kind of the difference between playing like a game of horse by yourself or playing a game of 21, with 2 other people, or whatever other game, right? But then it's like, okay, playing PE class 5-on-5 game versus a organized like a club game 5-on-5, or like a high school game or a college game. I mean, you can just kind of see how things elevate until like, yay, made it to the NBA, right? Like the professional thing. And then I skip, all those other things like overseas and all those kinds of professional leagues too. But you kind of get my point. It's like, obviously even though this is just a game, just like all the other games, it's like there's always these nuances of ways to get better and improve and really be at the top of whatever it is you do. But as far as this game, I mean, I'm not making the video to say, hey, this is complex, don't play it. I'm just saying there's a lot to learn. So, yeah. I think that's pretty much it for this video. Hopefully this helps. If anything, maybe it gets you thinking that want to try it. It is a free game, like MOBAs are. Yeah, and if you like this stuff, subscribe. Hit the up thumb thing, the approve, whatever that's called. And then drop in the comments if you guys want other content or other things like this. But yeah, you have a good one. Take care. It's always fun.